What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Dose with Dylan Davis. Obviously, I'm your host, Dylan Davis, joined today by my guy, Matt McGinty, one of my co-hosts from the Faithful Fanatics podcast. The Daily Dose is brought to you by The Painted Lines. So if you're new to the channel, please go check out and subscribe to The Painted Lines network on YouTube and check them out on Twitter at The Painted Lines. Again, 2020 is a few days away from being over. This dreadful, dreadful year, but it's getting a little better at the end, as today the NHL released the first three games of the 2021 season, and our own Philadelphia Flyers kick off that season on January 13th at 5:30 versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Battle of Pennsylvania opens up the NHL season. The Phillies added some much needed bullpen help today in a three-team trade deal that we will dive into later on in the show. And the Sixers are back in action against the Toronto Raptors tonight at the Wells Fargo Center. So let's get into it. We'll start with the Sixers first. Again, Furkan Korkmaz, your boy, is not playing tonight. He is out for a few weeks. So who do you think, before we get into the game, who do you think in this time period, or at least for tonight's game, kind of replaces his role and gets those minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sucks. I mean, we all joke on here saying we don't want to see Furkan play, but you never want to see a guy get injured. I think Matisse is like going to have to get a bump up and get some minutes. I don't think he'll get all of Furkan's minutes, obviously. I think Mike Scott will get a couple more minutes because now with Furkan out, your best catch and shoot shooter off the bench is Mike Scott, which is something really scary to say the least. It's just another reason why Shake should be moved into the starting lineup, but it's for another time. So, yeah, I'd say Matisse is going to be the guy that kind of replaces him in the rotation. Doc has only said he'll get a chance eventually, so here we are without a rotation piece, so I assume it has to be Matisse.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, like, I, along with other people, want to see more of Tyrese Maxey. But at the same time, that's not Furkan's role to begin with, a player like Tyrese Maxey. But B, a lot of people have said, and the word out is like Doc historically does not give rookies a lot of responsibility. And Tyrese is already getting a decent amount of run through the first three games, especially early in the first three games. He checked in with 2 or 3 minutes left in the first quarter the other night against the Cavaliers. So I expect his numbers to tick up a little bit, or his minutes to tick up a little bit. I don't expect Tyrese Maxey to get a ton more run with Furkan Korkmaz being out. So I have to agree with you. I think it's got to be Matisse Thybulle. And I know I saw a good tweet, like, obviously this isn't the way you want to see Matisse get his chance this year because of injury. Like you said, we don't want to see anyone get injured, although we joke a lot, but that's what they are. They're jokes. However, it has to be him because he is what Furkan's role. If he can shoot effectively from the outside, he would then replace Furkan even when Furkan's healthy. Like, Furkan is there to space the floor and to knock down open shots. He hasn't been doing that before his injury. He did it a little bit in the first game. He was dreadful in the second and third game of this season. So if Matisse can come in and even shoot, what's respectable? Again, I know we say 40% a lot, but that's asking a lot. 37%? Is that? Yeah,
I would like 37% is doable, because the thing with this is if Furkan shoots 37%, it's like that's what you're getting, as opposed to Matisse, where you're shooting 37% and then you're getting a whole another side of the ball out of Matisse Thybulle, which is you don't get out of Furkan Korkmaz. So it's crazy to say that he would take Furkan's role because they're literally.
He would.
Yeah, I know, but they're opposite players. You know what I mean? So it's so tough to see how this will go with Furkan out. That's another reason why I said, like, Mike Scott right now is our best shooter off the bench, best catch and shoot shooter. He actually. Shake probably is, but Shake sees too much time on the ball.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do here. I really think I would look at bringing Seth off the bench, but let's see.
You are team start Shake. You are the head of that snake trying to get Shake on the floor to start the game. But I agree. I think it's Matisse Thybulle. However, I also feel like that's the obvious answer. So maybe it's not so obvious. Maybe it's just a collective. Because Danny Green was asked about that today, and he said it's not just one guy that's going to have to step up and step in. It's a collective, group effort going forward, and everyone has to start shooting better and hitting shots. And that's the biggest thing. Like, the Sixers so far this year have just not hit open shots. And obviously I expect that to improve as the season goes on. But when you look at, I remember we had a comment yesterday saying in Doc's system, so many guys are missing shots. It has nothing to do with the system. Just hit an open damn shot. Tobias, Seth, Danny, Matisse, just hit a shot. Bottom line. But yeah, I think we're both in agreement that Matisse Thybulle should and probably will be the one player that will see an increase in playing time, and with Furkan Korkmaz being out. So we will see when Furk will be back. It's 2 to 3 weeks, right?
I think he gets reevaluated in 2 weeks.
Right. So we know what that means. A little bit longer than 2 weeks. All right, Ken, let's dive into this game tonight, because the Sixers come in 2-1 on the year, while the Toronto Raptors come in 0-2, as you so kindly pointed out earlier with your prediction before the show, but we'll get back to that later. So in order for the Sixers to keep the Raptors winless to start the 2021 season, let's start with what matchup are you looking forward to most on the floor tonight?
Looking forward to most. Probably Ben being guarded by OG Anunoby. I assume that's who guard him. Anunoby has a wide frame. He's about 6'8". That's what they have him listed as, with long arms. He's one of the guys that I could see giving Ben some trouble and making him make in-air decisions, which is what he did against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he turned the ball over a bunch because of it. So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to see if Ben can maybe get the best of him tonight. Other than that, Joel and Aaron Baines, he trolls Aaron Baines on Twitter, so that has to be something you're looking forward to after he dismantled him in a playoff game. But
Aaron Baines will definitely – I think it's safe to say Aaron Baines will hit at least 3 3-pointers tonight from the corner.
Yeah, I mean, you saw my tweet.
Yeah.
1.5 was listed under.
So, look, I don't know yet how they're going to match up. I don't know who Ben's going to guard, if he'll guard him or not. I'm just looking at positions. So the matchup that I'm looking for, that I want to see the most, is at the power forward position, and that's Pascal Siakam against Tobias Harris. And that's more so to say, how does Tobias Harris match up against Pascal Siakam tonight? So that's one that I'm definitely looking forward to, because the others, I mean, if you're just going position by position, like Fred VanVleet, and you got to figure Seth there,
most likely,
or Danny, because the opposite has to guard OG Anunoby. I don't know how that plays out.
Taylor would guard Kyle Lowry.
Who?
Danny Green will cover Kyle Lowry.
Okay.
I assume.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Tobias Harris against Pascal Siakam. Siakam is long. He's more explosive. He's more quicker than your normal power forward. So I want to see how Tobias Harris matches up against him. Julius Randle got the better of Tobias Harris early in the game versus the Knicks. I can only imagine what Pascal Siakam can do against Toby. But my thing is, how does Toby respond on the other end of the floor? Can Toby put up a performance? Because another thing we're going to talk about in a few minutes is, where does the scoring come from outside of number 21? Because that's going to be, I hope it's not a theme the rest of the season. It's been a theme the first 2 games, and it was clearly an issue when he did not play the other night in Cleveland. So where does the scoring come from outside of him? Tobias Harris, your max contract guy, has to step up on that side of the floor, especially against contenders like Toronto.
Yeah. Just before we jump into that, I'll be curious to see if they throw Ben on Siakam a little bit.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was just looking at power forward versus power forward. I can see Ben guarding Pascal tonight.
Yeah, because Anunoby's not a guy that can really fill it up, I don't believe. So I think you could probably throw Tobias on him a little bit. But get back to your question. Your question was, where's the offense come?
Yeah. Are you asking?
I thought you just lagged. Yeah.
Oh, no. I was reading this comment. I thought you were reading it too. So,
Yeah. No, yeah. So, I mean, it has to, you just brought it up. It has to come down to just, and I brought up every show, it's making shots. We just talked about all season about how, or all off season about how it's big on if they double Joel to make them pay. And we just have not done that. That's why we're 2-1. I shouldn't say we've started out bad because we haven't, but we just haven't been shooting the ball well. And
no.
if you're going to talk about how, we're going to make them pay if they double, we're going to make them pay if they double. Well, it's time to show it. You have 3 guys that are more than capable of shooting 38 to 40% from beyond the arc. So let's just do it. Let's make shots. And that's
right. And the crazy thing is, Joel has actually handled those double and at sometimes triple teams early in the season well. He's made the correct read most of the time. I can count on maybe 2 fingers that I'm just remembering off the top of my head where he didn't handle it well. But the one was when he got trapped in the corner. But he's handled the double team and made the right read and correct pass multiple times. And to your point and what I said earlier, they haven't hit shots yet. And that's not a scheme thing. That's not a fit thing. That is just flat out, if you're open, knock down a jumper, and they haven't yet. But at the same time, they're 2-1 and they haven't played their best basketball by far, obviously, but they haven't shot well at all. So imagine when, that's when that mold starts to come together and they're knocking down they're actually making teams pay for those double and triple teams in the paint.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We haven't even hit the horizon of what this team can be at. So another thing really look forward to is Sixers went 1-3 last year against the Raptors. But I think a lot of that plays to the depth they had in the front court of Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol. They had Siakam. So they lost their beef, I'll call it, in Gasol and Ibaka. They added Aaron Baines, who's not on the same realm of those 2 guys. So if we got to feed Embiid early, let's get Baines in foul trouble. And they have a couple backups. I think it's the one guy, they have Alex Len and the other dude, Chris something.
Oh, Boucher. Is it Boucher?
Yeah. Who's actually been playing pretty well this year. But, I mean, Joel Embiid's a different animal than what we've seen.
Right. And then they get to face the White when Joel's off the floor, which is a nice change of pace for this Sixers team. But I agree with you. Moving forward, okay, let's get into what I just said then before I get to my next talking point. Where does the offense come from tonight, Gint? Because it's going to have to come from somewhere. I have not seen Toronto's first 2 games of this season, but historically, Toronto is a very good defensive team. So where does the offense come from outside of Joel Embiid? Because like I said, that was the theme night 1. It's the theme night 2. So much to the point that Mark Zumoff had to come out and say, where is the offense going to come from? And then Seth Curry started to pick it up. And then, that was against the Wizards. Sorry. And then the same thing in night 2. And then in game 3, he doesn't play. And the offense looks sloppy, out of sync, no rhythm. Just they were held to 80 some points? No, or 94. So where's it coming from tonight?
Yeah. If you look at it, it's a tough matchup across the board for everyone, basically besides Embiid. Lowry's a good defender. Van Fleet's a really good defender. Anunoby's a good defender. Siakam is a good defender. So it's in my opinion, you have to try to speed the Raptors up and steal transition buckets as much as you can. Nick Nurse is known as one of the best defensive coaches in the NBA for a reason. They're going to be prepared. They're 0-2. They need to get off the schneid. So transition buckets is where we need to steal baskets. And then I know I'm beating at the bush, but these role players have to make shots. Mike Scott has to come in and hit a couple shots. I would say Furkan, but he's not playing. So I don't know where the bench scoring comes from besides Shake, obviously.
But that hasn't even been Shake the last 2 games, though.
That's true.
Shake, we played 3 games. Game 2, I believe Shake had 10. Game 3, he had 6.
Yeah.
So Shake needs to step it up as well.
Yeah, this guy that everyone was ready to anoint the 6th man of the year already.
And again, this isn't a shot at Shake Milton. We're not trying to be rude or anything to Shake, but he needs to step up, especially with how much people were talking about him coming into this season in his role.
Yeah. So just to restate it, speeding them up, I think, is something we could really do because they're not deep, like really anywhere on their roster. Off the bench, they bring Norman Powell, who's like a good player, but
he's a nice piece.
other than that, there's not really many notable names that come off their bench that are standout players that you could fear almost. But so you really have to speed these guys up, get some of them in foul trouble, hopefully, and steal easy baskets.
I agree with you. However, the Sixers' transition offense and defense has not looked great to start the season, so it's going to be a work in progress. Really interesting to see tonight how that transition offense looks because, like I said, I think you're right in that point. But I said it to you before the show. I was looking at their roster because I have not paid much attention to the Raptors because, like you said, they didn't really add anything except Aaron Baines this offseason. They lost to, say their beef. They lost a lot of their depth, which I think made them a better team. So we shall see. I'm going to have to say where the scoring comes from. Like I said, Shake Milton has to provide the scoring off the bench tonight because there is no Furkan Korkmaz to hit shots if needed. And Shake in the last 2 games has put up 16 combined. And, clearly Tobias Harris. I would like to see Ben Simmons have himself a night because to your point, there's every time there's a loss this season, James Harden is going to come up and Ben Simmons is going to come up. Okay. And he sees that. And we talked about it after the Cavs game or yesterday on the Daily Dose. He flat out wasn't good enough when Joel Embiid was off the floor last night. When Joel Embiid is not playing, Ben Simmons has to step up and be the guy. He wasn't. 15 was not good enough. So I know Joel Embiid's on the floor tonight. And if Ben goes out and gets you 16, 10, and 11 tonight, I'm not going to be mad or upset in any way, shape, or form. But like you said, OG Anunoby guards him while they are a very good defensive team in Toronto. If Ben can go out and get you 19, 20, 21 tonight, that would really impress me. Good.
Yeah. Ben, like you said, Ben started out the season, or I shouldn't say we're still in the start of the season, but he looks more aggressive, in my opinion.
He does. And his free throw attempts are
really that's what I was going to say. He's shooting a lot of foul shots, what really killed him last game was trying to make in-air decisions.
Which was Ben of the past. I need that. Exactly. Ben, when you get into the paint, when you're 3 feet away from the rim or less, and you're up in the air, don't turn. You're almost 7 feet. Don't turn and try to make a pass midair with not knowing where to go with the ball. If you know where to go with the ball, that's one thing. But if don't turn and try to make an errant pass, just put it up. Maybe you draw contact, maybe whatever. Don't be afraid of putting up the ball.
Yeah, that's exactly the point I was about to make. Is in-air decisions just don't bode well in the NBA. Guys are too good. Passes get intercepted way too easy, especially with this Toronto team. Toronto plays good defense. They have quick guards that are very active. So when Ben has 2 feet in the paint, I'd rather him literally shoot it every single time than ever make a pass. But it's just not who he is, and he doesn't have to turn into someone that he isn't because he's already a really good basketball player. But we'll see. I would love to see Ben come out and have a statement game after struggling. And a statement game doesn't need to be 35.
No.
It needs to be 25. It just needs to be, let's say, we'll go with 20.
A 20-point almost triple-double is what I want. Because Ben's been at that 16 to 17-point average every season. Obviously, I'm still looking for improvement and growth. So to be at that 15, 16 mark, and again, it's only been 3 games. I'm not coming down with Ben Simmons. But there's nights like tonight against the contender after a letdown game on the road against the Cavs where I'd like to see him step up. Before we move on, let's get to some comments. We have our guy Snap in here helping you out. Chris Boucher, I got you, boy.
Thank you, Snap.
Big Shane Gillis says Siakam is a glorified role player.
He's a number 2.
We'll agree to disagree a little bit.
I don't think
he's a star,
1.
but
yeah.
Let's see. Steven says at least we aren't the Nets. The Nets have 8 coaches, and all they could come up with at the end of the 4th and down 2 in OT last night was to have Harris and LeVert heaving up contested threes. Yeah, I watched that game. Kyrie and KD did not play.
And
but
Spencer did, buddy.
Yeah, but
a loss is a little undermanned.
A loss is a loss, I guess, right? Here we go again. Mark Wenger says, who guards Kyle Lowry, Seth Curry or Danny Green? I'll let you take that one.
I think it would be Danny Green. I think they would rather have Danny Green on a lot of their primary ball handlers. But the problem with that is the Raptors have a backcourt of two guys that are more than capable of handling the ball. But I think Lowry would handle it more. So I think Danny Green would get that assignment. But knowing me, I'm probably wrong. So
it might be a role, like a switch. Marquise says Ben Simmons needs to be aggressive consistently and defend too, something he didn't do against the Cavs. Knowing he's the leader, especially when Embiid is down. That's the main point. Again, this is not a knock on Ben Simmons. I love Ben Simmons. But when Joel Embiid is not on the floor, he has to be the guy to step up. He wasn't. So now, even with Joel Embiid back, all I'm looking for is a not statement game, but just a better performance from Ben offensively. With that being said, again, let's move on. We talked about which matchup we're looking forward to seeing the most, but how about which matchup or which Toronto Raptor do the Sixers need to key in on offensively? I mean, defensively, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I assume it'd be Siakam. He's just their all-around best player. I'm not positive what he averaged last year. It was definitely in the 20s, probably mid-20s, maybe low 20s. But Siakam has to be a guy that you have to contain. I'm curious to see who they throw on him. I think it would have to be Ben. I don't see them asking Tobias Harris to guard Pascal Siakam while Ben would guard OG Anunoby. But Siakam has to be that guy. And then, I love Kyle Lowry. He went to Villanova, so he has a soft spot in my heart. But he's not a guy that's going to kill you, even though he has a pass of kind of killing the Sixers a little bit. But I think Danny Green's a good match for him. So I'm going to say Siakam. And then also, if Aaron Baines hits more than 2 threes tonight, I'm going to go crazy.
Go bonkers.
He just doesn't miss against the Sixers for some odd reason. So, but yeah, in terms of who you have to key on, it has to be Siakam.
Our Marquise chimes in and says Fred Van, in my opinion. Look, those are obviously the three, I guess you could say. But my thing is, you just have to take away one. This Raptors team is not deep enough bench-wise. Aaron Baines isn't going to kill you. OG Anunoby, I guess he can give you 20 to 25 sometimes, but in my opinion, he's not going to kill you offensively. So as long as the big three of Van Vliet, Kyle Lowry, and Siakam, and I'm not literally calling them a big three, I'm just saying for Toronto, if you take away one of them, you can find success against this Raptors team. To me, it's Pascal Siakam. Both guards, demand the ball. Not demand the ball, but both guards, to be effective, are going to have the ball in their hands in the half court. So they're going to have to rotate, in my opinion. Siakam can kill you in many ways. So that is a clear Ben assignment, in my opinion. And if Ben can limit Siakam's success tonight, because if Siakam's not hitting shots, I've seen it too many times. If Pascal Siakam's not hitting shots right out of the gate, he'll keep throwing them up and they won't fall. I've seen it. So if you can take away Pascal Siakam and really take away their front court, and again, their small forward and Anunoby's not going to kill you, and that just leaves their backcourt. How much is their backcourt realistically going to drop on you? Even if they both went off, realistically, what are Van Vliet and
probably 45 at most?
Right, they're not, maybe a little more, 50 to 55. They're not going to kill you to that extent. Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal can kill you with the Washington Wizards.
Siakam's shooting 25% from three this year. Granted, it's only been 2 games.
Right.
I shouldn't even say that. He shot 0 for 5 last game from 3. He shot 3 for 7 the first game, which is a good game. But yeah, I don't know how you look at the Toronto Raptors and the first thing you don't circle on the list is Pascal Siakam. But to go to your question on who we should key in on their defensive end, basically
switch it up. Yeah, so which offensive player for the Sixers, where should we look to attack the Raptors defensively?
It has to be Joel. And this is something we're probably going to bring up every single time we want to do one of these pregame shows, because there's just not anyone really. There's probably 3 that you could say Joel isn't in a much favorable matchup than anyone else on the court. Yeah, definitely agree with that comment. But yeah, Joel needs to own Aaron Baines. I would love to see him get in foul trouble and just be who Joel is. He'd be who you've been this whole season. Or I keep saying this whole season like it's a long season. The 2 games that you played.
There's an energy that Joel provides with this team, and it carries through the rest of the lineup. So I want to see that first and foremost. Like, go out. Remember last year, he was like, I don't have, like, he wasn't having fun and all that shit was going on. Just go out and, like you said, be Joel Embiid. Aaron Baines isn't on the same planet as Joel Embiid. This should easily, and again, if he gives you 26, 27 in limited minutes, not that he's going to play limited minutes, but let's say he plays only 32 minutes, and he gives you 28. Obviously, that's a great performance, but this could easily be a 30-plus game for Joel Embiid. And in my mind, Jason said it going into the Wizards games, and we've talked about it a lot. It looks like they're going to run a lot of pick and roll, the Sixers are, but it looks as though they're going to play a lot of inside-out ball. So get the ball to Joel in the post and then work inside out. So the ball should be in Joel's hands a ton tonight. And like I said, if they're going to give Aaron Baines help, if the guards are going to come down and help, if OG's going to come over and help, or Siakam or whoever's going to come over and help, he has to make the right read. And if he makes the right read, the role players, the shooting has to knock down open shots. Doc said it the other night in one of his pressers. I think it was at the Knicks, because a lot of guys didn't shoot well, and he was saying, I'm never mad or upset with my guys like just when we miss shots. That means they had good looks when they miss good looks, and I'm like, yeah, I agree, but how about we hit an open look? Like, how about Danny Green knock down an open corner 3? How about Seth pull up and knock down an open wing 3? How about Tobias knock down an open shot? Like, come on.
Just to key off that, I mean, like I brought up earlier, Nick Nurse is a defensive genius when it comes to basketball. And if you don't think he has every type of drawing up for Joel Embiid, I mean, he's going to dare these guys that are struggling to beat him tonight, I presume. And that's why I just keep bringing up that these guys got to make shots. Tobias Harris, who against Cleveland was probably one of the only guys that didn't look horrendous.
And he shot 50% from the field against the Knicks. So
yeah,
outside of game 1, when the entire city of Philadelphia wanted to burn his house down, Tobias Harris has looked pretty good.
Yeah. So Tobias, Danny, Seth, Shake, just make shots. Mike Scott, make shots.
All right. So let me get to a few comments before we get to our daily dose stars of the game and our score predictions for tonight. Marquis says Siakam can't shoot threes, but his ability to attack is the way to stop him. Let Siakam shoot threes and force him to. That's my thing. Like, whenever I see a guy like or a big man that wants to stay content out there and not get in the post against Joel and he's chugging up threes, even if he hits his first 2, look, if that's the way they beat you, that's the way they beat you tonight. If Pascal Siakam's going to go down and shoot 4 of 8 from 3 or whatever. But I don't see that happening. Steven says Joe can have fun when we look at the check, when he looks at the check every other week. That's a great point, I guess. Marquise, Embiid should dominate, period. No Mark or Ibaka anymore. Embiid should go off for 30 points in my book. That's what I'm saying. Again, if he gives you 27, 28 in 30 minutes, obviously that's going to be a great game, especially if the Sixers come away with a win. But this could easily be a above 30 performance. Big Shane Gillis. Simmons going to drop 30, 10, and 12. Big Shane, I would love nothing more than Ben to get a 30-point triple-double. However, I don't know if that's coming tonight. And then Steven here says, coach's job is to get good looks, but also to know who can and can't hit an open 3 anytime during the game. I agree, but like the open looks are coming from your 3-point shooter.
The guys that you paid to make threes.
Yeah, from Danny Green, from Furkan Korkmaz, everyone's favorite.
Yeah, we didn't wheel Dwight Howard out to the 3-point line and say shoot the ball.
Yeah,
it's a top 3 shooter in NBA history percentage-wise out there shooting threes.
Yeah, and an NBA back-to-back NBA champion that knocked down threes in key situations for both teams. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. Joel Embiid's also probably we're talking about Joel Embiid like he's definitely playing. He better be playing, or this game's not going to go so well. But he's been probable all day. I know they keep saying the lower back tightness. I still think it was load management yesterday against the Cavs, but maybe not. Maybe not if it's still listed as back soreness or tightness. All right, Gint, you go first since I went first the other day against the Cavs.
Who'd you pick?
I
think you took Shake.
I did. Terrible pick.
I think I took.
Terrible pick.
I took Seth.
Terrible pick.
Could have been a little worse.
You guys can comment along with us. Give us your daily dose stars of the game in tonight's Sixers versus Raptors matchup. Gant will start first. Who is your daily dose star of the game?
We're doing no Embiid, right? We're gonna stick with that trend.
Yeah,
cool.
Because that's the that's the given.
I'll take Shake. I don't think they have very good backup guards. To the point where I don't see shit, and he struggled the last two games. Or I shouldn't say struggled. 10 points isn't horrible, but 6 points is not the Shake Milton we thought was coming into the season. I still don't think that's who he is, and I got him going for high teens, maybe low 20s tonight.
I like it. This is a tough one. Toronto defensively is just a weird matchup where I can't. Outside of Joel, I can't point to a player on the floor. And well, Shake's a good pick because, like you said, they don't have good guard depth. So I'm going to go with Ben. And I'm going to go with Ben because even if Ben doesn't give me that 19 to 21 that I'm looking for tonight, I still need Ben to have a classic Ben game and affect this game in multiple ways because of the backcourt and Siakam. Responsibility that he's going to have. Whoever he's guarding defensively is going to be an all-night assignment that he's going to have to do more than his part to shut down. And then offensively, Ben's going to have to be the facilitator he is. He's going to, if we're talking transition buckets, Skint, as we were earlier, who's leading that?
Has to be Ben.
So even if he's not giving me the 20-plus scoring performance that I want to see tonight, Ben Simmons is still my star of the game because he's going to have to affect the game so many other ways outside of scoring tonight. Marquise says, I got Seth as my star. I would love nothing more than to see Seth Curry come out and drop, 20 tonight and shoot well from three. Nafil Arshad, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but he's got Joel Embiid. Never a wrong answer there. Kevin, will any of the young new guys get some minutes off the bench like a Dakota Mathias, Paul Reed, or Isaiah Joe? Kevin, are you the same person that wanted to see Vincent Poirier get more run? I don't know. Look, man, I'm not trying to be mean. How do you look at this Sixers roster and, you're aching for a Dakota Mathias or Paul Reed or Isaiah Joe minutes run?
I'll say this, though. Not that he's going to play. Dakota Mathias looked all right.
He knocked down some shots. He does not look like an NBA player, by the way. Let me throw that out there.
The Sixers in these next couple weeks, and I don't think Furkan is this sniper, but they need someone to make shots off the bench, and I don't see it being Mike Scott. So I don't know what they're going to look for. I think Terrence Ferguson might get some chances these coming weeks, but not that, again, Dakota Mathias, Isaiah Joe, and Paul Reed probably won't see the floor in the near future.
Nor should they right now.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Joe should be a Delaware Blue Coat, but there's not a season right now.
I know a beat reporter for them.
Steven says, as long as it's not another movie night voice. Steven, if you're referring to the TPL live crew, I have not taken part in that. I know what they do. I can pass the message along if you'd like. Mark says, Tobias, 25 tonight. That would be huge because the common theme that we've been talking about, where does the offense and scoring come from outside of Joel Embiid? Marquise says, Ben got to show up knowing trade talk is getting louder, so to his Cavs performance.
That's not Ben's fault. That's James Harden.
That's James Harden shooting 8 of 10 in the first half. But he had 28 in the first half? Didn't he finish with 34?
Yeah, but he had 28 on 10 shots at one point.
Yeah, that's look, no one's questioning that James Harden is not an all-time great scorer.
Yeah.
All time. I'm not saying right now all time. Yeah. But I would not give up Ben for him. Steven, Maxey double figures off the bench tonight. Breakout time. If he gets more of a run with Furkan out, maybe so.
I think he'll get a bump in minutes. Because I don't think, like I said, I don't think they're Furkan's probably playing what right now, like 16 minutes, 17 minutes. I don't think they just throw Matisse that many minutes. I think Mike Scott will get a couple more minutes. I think Maxey will get a couple more minutes. I think Matisse will take a bulk, probably 10 to 12 of those minutes.
Yeah. All right, Coyle, let's go, boys. Movie voices all day.
In a world.
Yeah. And Marquise, that's why I wanted and still want Buddy Hield from the Kings.
No.
And Coyle says, hopefully we don't need the movie voices. I think they do that when the game is out of hand or it's getting a little boring there. All right, before we move on, because we're about to have some fun with 2020, guys, so stay tuned for another minute to get into that and conversate with us. But let's get our score predictions and comment your score predictions tonight. I'll start first. I think that the Sixers win this game tonight. I know that always plays a factor to me in what you said earlier, how the Raptors are 0-2 and are the Raptors, they're too good to be 0-3. But at the same time, the Sixers are coming off a bad loss against the Cavs without, again, no Joel Embiid, but still a bad loss nonetheless on the road. I can't see them coming out and dropping another one this early in the season. I'm going to say that the Sixers win, especially with Toronto losing their beef in Ibaka and Marc Gasol. Joel Embiid should have no issue tonight. I'm going to say Sixers 108, Toronto 102.
I know. I told you before we came on, I didn't think we were going to win.
Don't be scared. Tell the people what you think.
No, because I did tell you that I didn't think we were going to win tonight. And just because I didn't think that.
Changing your mind, are we?
But I don't know. I think it's going to end in a tie. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't think Toronto has a good enough bench to beat us. But I don't think the way our bench is playing, we're playing good enough to beat them.
Something's got to give. We shall see tonight.
I'm going to take the Sixers. I'm
wow.
going to take the Sixers.
You see, do you see the influence I have over people, everyone? This man was down and out on the Sixers after one bad loss. This team sucks. We need James Harden. The Nets are winning it all. And 37 minutes with me, and he's got a whole new outlook on the season.
Yeah, I'm with Steven. Pull up Steven's comment.
He said, if someone put a gun to my head and asked me to pick the winner tonight, my brains would be splattered on the wall. I have no clue. We also have two winners. Marquise says Sixers 113, Raptors 105, and Big Shane Gillis says Sixers 115, 101.
I'm going to go Sixers 110, Raptors 107.
Wow. I don't know if my heart can handle that game, and it's only game 4 of the season.
Yeah.
I've been through a lot in 2020.
Yeah, me too. And also, to top it all off, side note, Villanova's basketball program got shut down for COVID.
Yeah. That has to hurt your soul. You need to talk to someone?
Yeah.
I'm here. Let it out, buddy. Let it out. All right. But with that being said, guys, 2020, this disastrous year is coming to an end. And I know January 1st isn't going to hit and everything's going to go back to normal. But let's have some fun with it, right? We're going to go through our best and worst moments in Philadelphia sports in 2020. So we're each going to give our number one in both, and then we'll throw out some honorable mentions back and forth, and you guys can comment with us and give yours. Maybe we're not thinking of some. 2020 seems like such a long year. I'm forgetting about a lot of things that happened. Also, I feel like when I think of all the heartache that came from like 2017 to 2019 area, and I'm forgetting like what happened in 2020. Does Davis play basketball in real life? Not anymore. Why?
Oh, Dylan. I was like, who's Davis?
Yeah, I don't know.
We're retired.
Gint still plays. Gint gets buckets.
I played a men's league.
In a beer men. No, I'm kidding. All right. So
beer league.
Steven, best moments or moment flyers out of the bubble and the hope it gave us. Okay. I like it. Definitely up there. Again, would you like to start or would you like me to start?
You start because I don't want to take yours. So I think I know what to say.
Let's start with the worst. Okay.
No. Okay, yeah, I'm down.
Marquise also says, number one, Flyers losing a series they should have won to make the finals for Stanley Cup. All right, here's my worst.
And we're going with our worst, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll throw out honorable mentions.
Okay.
My worst. I'm going to take you guys back to what doesn't actually feel like 2020.
I know exactly what it is already because it's my worst too.
January 5th.
Yep.
Is it?
Yeah.
We did not discuss this before.
I had to look up the date for it.
Yeah. We did not discuss this pre-show. January 5th, 2020. The Eagles versus Seahawks wild card round at the link. I was there. And I didn't even know it happened. I'm getting text messages that he's in the blue tent. Carson Wentz takes a cheap shot from Jadeveon Clowney in the back of his head, doesn't know where he is, gets concussed. And after like one or two drives, I forget. Did it happen on the first? I think it happened on the second drive. He played 2 drives of his first playoff game. The one thing that I and everyone else in the city wanted to see at the time. And we don't get to see Carson Wentz finish that game. And in my mind, I'm not saying the Eagles were going anywhere and making a postseason run. But in my mind, with Carson Wentz, the way he was playing, they beat Seattle in that 17-9 loss, where Josh McCown had to come in and then play on a torn hamstring. I can't believe that is your worst memory too.
Because I was gonna look up for best moments when we won the division and how good Carson was, but the regular season ended
in 2019
when it started. Yeah. So I was like, oh well, that's the easiest worst moment. So I'll give my second.
All right, throw it out there.
I'm gonna get, and I don't know if Dives is watching, but Dives is gonna be upset, and Rob will love it if he's watching. But I'm gonna go with when the Eagles selected Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson.
Wow,
draft.
That is a good one.
Yeah,
that is a good one. I didn't even think about that. I would have thrown out the second round pick. And the shit show that the shitstorm that this organization created in this
I just think if you look at what Justin Jefferson just did, made the Pro Bowl.
Feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, and he could have been on our roster.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
All right, let's keep throwing out some honorable mentions here then. I like this. So we have the Carson Wentz head injury against Seattle in the playoff game. We have Justin Jefferson being passed on for Jalen Reagor in the 2020 NFL draft. I'm going to throw out, obviously, I think this is a given. The Sixers getting swept in the bubble by the Boston Celtics, the first sweep ever between the two in a playoff series. And basically the end of the process, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
As Brett Brown's tenure was no longer a thing.
I'm going to piggyback right off that. And when Ben got hurt in the bubble, as another one of my worst moments of 2020.
All right, let me take it back to the Eagles and give you just basically, I'm just going to make it a large sample size. The 2020 Philadelphia Eagles, or a terrible moment of 2020.
I got a really good one for that.
Quarterback controversy, the benching, this whole team, this disaster of a team. Terrible part of my 2020 year.
I'll give you the whole 2020 Phillies bullpen.
Yeah. Mark says honorable mention everything that happened to Eagles up 17-0. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm going to go with the whole 2020 Phillies bullpen.
Yeah, that is one of mine too. The moment I realized the Phillies bullpen was not enough, more specifically that Marlins loss on the big blown lead. Agreed. I mean, that Phillies team, we were sitting in studio at that time recording a podcast talking about how could you look at this Phillies lineup and not think that they can contend?
Yeah.
Well, the bullpen said, hold my beer, and I'll show you why. And then I'm going to take it to the next level. This is not necessarily Philadelphia sports.
Coyle had another one I had.
Philly's not signing JT. Well, that is not a definite yet.
Yeah, but they didn't sign him in 2020. That's what should have.
Big Shane also says when Ben went back down early in that Bucks game, yeah, that sucked. That's when that really started. I want to take this a step past sports. It's sports, but it's not necessarily what we're talking about. The death of Kobe Bryant on a more serious note. Yeah. That kicked off 2020, and that's when the shitstorm of 2020 really started. Philadelphia's own Kobe. So, terrible year. Are we missing anything?
I don't have anything else, I don't think, that I wrote down. There's more out there. Don't get me wrong. But.
Obviously, the Flyers losing a Game 7.
Yeah.
So I think Marquise Marquise said that earlier, but as going through the 4 teams, I think when Eagles draft playoff game of last year, this Eagles team up until like literally after 17-0 against Washington week 1, the Phillies bullpen, the Flyers game 7, the Sixers sweep, injuries. 2020 brought a lot of just shit to the Philadelphia sports doorstep. What'd you say?
There is positives.
There are. So let's switch. Let's switch gears here to our best moments of Philadelphia sports in 2020. Again, I'm not going to lie to you. My best moments list is a lot shorter than my worst moments.
I got a decent amount.
And maybe that's because A, everything feels like a lifetime ago. B, our heartaches and pain sits with us or, is in our head more than happiness is. So we'll go ahead. You kick us off here.
No, you can start because I'm looking at.
Okay. Well, I think the biggest bright spot in 2020 was Carter Hart and the Philadelphia Flyers team and the run that they went on. And they were the hottest team to start the year of 2020. And then COVID happens. Then they come back out and sweep the round robin to take over the number 1 overall seed in the Eastern Conference. Then they win a playoff series with this young core. But more specifically, I'm going to give you my best moment. I was up to Poconos. Game 6 against the Islanders, double overtime. The Flyers were completely outplayed. Back and forth game, and Ivan Provorov puts one in the back of the net in double OT. That is my most vivid memory and best moment of 2020 in Philadelphia sports.
Mine is not going to be during a game or anything like that. I'm going to go when the Sixers hired Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers for my best moment of 2020.
Yeah, I had those.
Kind of package the two together. I know they got hired at different times, but them together is my best moment of 2020.
I had those as well. Marquise here in the comments says, my best is Sixers organization moves after firing Brett Brown. Agreed. So, yeah, Brett Brown, the Al Horford trade, the Seth Curry trade, Dwight Howard, anything Sixers.
You're just Xing my list away one by one.
Yeah, who I am?
Yeah, I had Brett Brown fired as one of my best moments, Al Horford being traded, and then there's more, but you can keep going.
Well, I'm out. I'm out. Dude, what good came from 2020?
All right, so I got Flyers get the 1 seed, Zach Wheeler.
I said the Flyer season.
I know, Zach Wheeler.
All right, that's a bright spot.
Ben going first team all defense.
It's a bright spot.
Al Horford trade.
Okay.
Matt Klentak stepping down.
Okay.
Brett Brown fired.
Okay.
Morey and Doc getting hired.
Okay.
Tyrese Maxey getting drafted.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay, so I think we can all agree that the Flyers were a bright spot and that anything Sixers-wise between the following Game 4 of the Boston sweep up until this point has been positive. And outside of that, it's small moral victories. Zach Wheeler had a good season. Ben Simmons was first team all defense. Small moral victories, but when I look back at 2020, they don't really come to mind.
I agree.
What a shitty year.
But hey, I was gonna say it's only up from here, but it might not be.
Yeah. So I mean, I have no idea what to expect. I mean, I hope the Sixers. And I said, you know what I said earlier. Speaking of the year 2020, before we move on, I said this to Rob and Dives last night on Party on Broad. It's only Game 4. I'm not being serious when I say this, but with the Eagles season and how the season ended at the hands of the Cowboys, and then following that by an hour, the Sixers get blown out against a bad Cleveland team, albeit they're 3-0 to start the year. I need my body, my heart, my brain needs a Sixers win tonight.
Yeah.
Just to get that bad energy out of my mind. And I'm not being serious. I'm not going to be, if they lose tonight, it's not going to be, oh, James Harden, this team sucks, blow it up. But, yeah, I need a win just for my, my well-being.
Oh, wait, for your worst.
This is a great moment. Hold on. I'm so sorry. Mark.
Oh, Alec Boehm, yeah.
Alec Boehm's rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great moment. I guess if we want to get, if I'm getting down to it, the comeback win against the Giants, the Boston Scott throw, if we're talking a game in 2020.
Say about, did you have Jalen being a starter as one of your worst moments?
No, because it's not. That would be a anti-Jalen stab, and that's not what I'm all about. I'm all about I'm all about jabbing at the asinine fan base that calls people like you and I divisive, when in reality I had to watch them blast 11 on Twitter for months on end, and want him to get out. And now it's, if I say anything about Jalen Hurts' performance, is I'm divisive and I don't root for the team and I don't want to see Jalen Hurts succeed. So that's another. Let's throw that in the worst moments. My love for the Philadelphia sports base just dwindling down to a nub, okay? To a little nub. That's what I got left for my brothers and sisters in Philadelphia now. Because my God, you guys aged me so much. You've made me so mature by doing this. I mean, my God, the shit that I see and have to deal with and talk to is unbelievable.
Yeah. I know we're going to do our resolutions tomorrow, so definitely tune in for that one.
Yeah, so tomorrow we will be doing it'll be a review of the Sixers versus Raptors game, and a full breakdown of what happens in tonight's game. So hopefully that is a happy show tomorrow. But obviously we will not be having a show on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, Thursday and Friday. So tomorrow, to ring in the new year, we will be doing our Philadelphia sports wish list / New Year's resolution list.
We'll have to do each team individually.
Each team, yeah, I like that.
I assume because the guys in green list is going to be a CVS receipt length. So
yeah, the guys in red and pinstripes might be too, but the guys in green trump that a little bit more. But before we wrap up tonight's show and get to plugs, even though we just plugged tomorrow's Daily Dose show, the Phillies, as I mentioned earlier, were part of a 3-team trade earlier with, the Rays and the Dodgers, and it brought back the Phillies Jose Alvarado. Hope I'm pronouncing that last name correctly. I believe I am. Bullpen piece from the Tampa Bay Rays. He again is, if you guys don't know who he is, if you're on Twitter, you've seen that you've seen the video of his 2-seam movement from last season. It is unbelievable. I'm not gonna come out here in front and act like I know a ton about this dude. I don't. But what I will say is, A, it's a bullpen piece, so nothing can get worse than what the Phillies put out there last year. But B, he throws hard, he has great movement, and he gets outs. And to me, that fits the job description of what I'm looking for in a pinstripe bullpen piece. Okay? Because a Phillies pitcher in the bullpen piece for the Philadelphia Phillies last season and in previous seasons don't throw hard. They don't have good movement. They have junk. They don't have stuff. You know how you say a pitcher has stuff? Like he's got some stuff. They had junk. Okay? They had the definition of junk, not in a good way. And they couldn't get outs. So if he can get outs, has good movement, and throws hard, sign me the hell up. That's what I know about Alvarado. Yeah. All right? So we will have more for that. Hopefully our man George will talk about it on the Faithful Fanatics podcast.
George Ryder, calling you out, but we need you.
George Ryder, you lazy sack.
Oh, no, yeah, we got to plug Faithful tomorrow.
Yeah, hold on. A few more comments. Steven. Oh, Sunday was top 25 crappy days in Philadelphia sports history. It's probably up there, my friend.
I don't remember.
Marquise, nothing would top Howie Roseman getting fired. Well, Marquise, if that is your belief, you will definitely want to tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. to the Daily Dose, because that will I'm going to little preview, guys. The Philadelphia Eagles firing list will be at the top of my New Year's resolution list. Just letting you guys know. Little teaser there. Spoiler alert. Steven, best weekend in Philadelphia sports history. Last weekend, October 2008, Flyers in OT over the Devils. Phil's game 3. Eagles over Falcons. Phil's game 4. Hard pressed to find a better weekend. You should do a show on that. 2008.
I was in 5th grade.
I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
I'm sure I remember those games. Phil's game 3 and 4 were those. Well, that's the world. No. October of 2008. So was that the Brewers series, or maybe he's talking about the World Series? But I think that if I remember correctly, the Brewers Eagles played on a Sunday afternoon. While the Brewers Phillies played on a Sunday afternoon while the Eagles were on, if I remember. So Steven, please comment really quickly and let me know if my 10-year-old mind remembers correctly. Please. Was that a Sunday game against the Brewers you're speaking of for the Phillies in the 2008 postseason? But before we wrap up here, the Daily Dose, normally, guys, we are at 5 like tonight, but tomorrow our start time is at 6 because our other show, the Faithful Fanatics podcast, will be live on the Painted Lines YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter pages at 5 p.m. We are having Rob Motti on tomorrow's show talking all things Eagles, Carson Wentz, Doug Peterson, Howie Roseman, and a lot of other stuff to get into. And then followed by that is the Daily Dose once again with myself. And again, you are available. Obviously, we just talked about it to do the Daily Dose tomorrow. No online practice at 6 tomorrow?
7.
Oh, perfect. Look at that. Look at that timing.
Probably 7:15. We work around the Daily Dose for practice.
Yeah. Mark says, Steven, me and you will do that show. Go ahead, guys. I would definitely tune in. World Series game 3 and 4. Damn, I was wrong. I do know. I promise you, I will go back and I'll tell you guys tomorrow if I was correct. I'm almost positive the Phillies played the Brewers in that postseason on a Sunday afternoon while football was on. I remember it. For myself, for Gint, for the daily, this is your Daily Dose of Philadelphia sports. Go Sixers, ring that bell, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a nice night.
Like and subscribe.